Hi, Lucas. I hope you're having a good week. We're about to start our last section of our stained glass window project, and I wanted to quick show you some of the projects that your fellow fourth graders have been working on this year. I was in Mr. Warner's room on Tuesday and I got to look at how some of theirs are turning out, and I thought you might really enjoy seeing what other kids are doing as well to give you a sense of how you can work on your project. Um, so you can see all of the details in this project that I have in front of me. We have one of the camels that the wise men would have ridden. We can see the pyramids from Egypt in the background, the cave where baby Jesus was born. And again, lots of details and dividing of the picture so that it looks like stained glass window. And of course, these ones that I'm going to be showing you are ones that have mostly been colored in or are close to that. So again, here is another one. It's absolutely intricate and beautiful. They've divided up this night sky into all different sections that they are coloring in with a bunch of different kinds of light and dark and purple, blues and purples. And so obviously it still needs to be finished, but you can just see all of the detail of little Bethlehem off on the left and the grass and the texture to show the difference between the pathway and the grass and the again we have the sheep who are out in the stable, and we have Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. So we have a lovely image of the Nativity in the style of stained glass. So I'm just going to show you a couple of more of these, and I just want you to be inspired and to continue to keep working your best on getting yours finished. I did see your stained glass window design for the project of last year, the one that has the arched windows that you posted um, with Miss Friends. That's very lovely. I liked how you did that. That, of course, is not this project. Your stained glass window should not be in just the two colors and geometric shapes like the Gaudi window you did last year. Your stained glass window project this year should be with images from the Nativity that you read from the Gospels early on in this project. So again, this is just beautifully detailed with animal and the wall and all the different layers. So I just hope that you can be inspired. I'm really looking forward to the time that we are going to have to finish this project. So I hope you enjoy these. Today, I think, is one of my favorite and most exciting parts of this project. We are going to be working on the next step of adding color to our Christmas stained glass windows. So the supplies that you're going to need are, this is my student example. Here's mine. You're going to need your drawing that you have done on your vellum. My drawing is still underneath it and is attached. And you are going to need markers. So you can see Crayola markers, thick and thin, would work. This is another set of Crayola markers. You can use whatever you have in your house. These Crayola markers have two different tips. If you have these at your house, this is like the thick side. And this is the small side. You can see how that, these would be a nice option as well. You can see they actually come in a double layer. If you have these, you could use these. They sell these at Meijer, but you don't have to have anything special. If you have them, grab these. If you have these, grab both of them because the colors are slightly different. Or you can see I have this huge bag of all of my Sharpie markers that I create my art projects with. So if you have a bunch of colored Sharpies, you could use these as well. That would work too. So whatever markers you have, ultra thin or fine point, or if you have a lot of really big spaces, even some really big thick ones, or your Crayola thick ones, those would all work. So I'm going to set these to the side, and we're just going to talk briefly about how to go about doing this. Now, last time I had recommended the other thing that you might want to do is to have another sheet of paper that you can rest over the parts of your drawing that we don't want to smear, okay? So the marker that's dried on here is good, but if you work on something and it hasn't fully dried, you might want to use this paper to protect it, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. But if you remember all those pictures of the stained glass windows, they're always very vibrant and very bright. So I want to use some really nice bright colors for Mary and her clothing, and obviously the angel in the background, my background sky, and then I've got my trees and leaves. So I might start on that background window first. Again, you can see how much these colors are going to pop, and so it's going to get pretty exciting. So I'm going to start with my window in the background, and I think what I will do is I'm going to color in the frame of my window. So I'm going to choose a brown or maybe a gray, and I think I'm going to pull a couple at a time so you can see how they can kind of be blended together from here. So you don't have to use all the same. So you can start to see I'm going to start coloring in this window frame. It's important that as you work on this, that you fill it in so that it's smooth and your lines are kind of going in the same direction, because as you can see, where they overlap a lot, see how that's darker in that center part? That's where I kept touching. So you want to kind of keep it smooth so that it's even. And over here, my angel is part of the frame of that window, and you can see it here as well. Now, this part is through, the light is shining through it. Take my yellow and put that over top so we can see that the light is going to affect in this separate section because it's divided by the lines. And these lines, it's like we're pretending that each of these little spaces is a piece of glass. If we were making this for a cathedral or an actual window, those would each be separate pieces of glass. So I've got another orangey yellow, and I'm going to use that to go over this third so we can see what that looks like. I'm going to pull that same bright yellow orange, because this is that light extending from each of these yellows. Now you're going to want to be careful not to go over the black too much, because if you do, it can actually smear it a little bit if you use the permanent marker on it again. So you want to be careful. Okay, so I want you to see that up close. So you can see I did the gray around the window. And because I'm going to have yellow coming from, like, light coming and hitting Mary, it's going to change the colors of, like, the background. Whatever I do the background curtains, I'm going to put the yellow over it. So now I'm going to work on the outside background that we can see in the window. So I've overlapped what will be trees. So I'm going to put that green over my yellows so we can see them a little bit later. Now I'm going to choose two different greens. I'm going to use this lighter green to go in the tree in front. And I have my angel hand that is over instructing Mary and giving her a message that's pointing to her. They always had the angel pointing to her, meaning they were communicating a message. And we know they're messengers from God, so that's what Gabriel was doing. So you can see I have two different greens. Now I have the yellow that was overlapping this green tree. So I'm going to put the green over these orange yellows. And you can see that they're kind of blending. I'll hold this up again so you can see. So here we are. You can see I've got my green trees. I'm going to do my green leaves, but the green trees are different colors of green. And I'll do the background sky and clouds and hills as well. So you're just going to want to collect whatever markers you have and use those to color on your vellum each of the separate pieces. And you can see I'm using, it's interesting, my Crayola, I'll hold it up so you can see it, is a little wetter. And it looks like I might have to, it's going to want to move a little bit more. As in, I'll have to be real careful to let it dry. And each of these little sections we want to think of as individual pieces of glass. So there you can see I did a couple different greens, and this green here, this darkest green, is the Crayola, and it's kind of, it's wetter. So you're going to go ahead and start coloring and adding all of the detail in here. This is like the tracing. This could take you all week. You could spend 15 minutes a day, 15-30 minutes a day. I think if you turned on some Christmas music and relax with your family and fill this in, just don't rush it. Take your time and fill in all of the areas. And you can see, again, here, in this student one, you can see that there are bigger sections, and obviously they didn't finish it because there's all sorts of coloring and the night sky needs to be filled in. But again, you're thinking of each of these as individual pieces of glass with lead in between. And if you look at this, you can see how the wet marker, how it dries. And it creates some texture on here. I'm trying to get that glare off so you can see the texture. This is going to be wet, so you want it, that's why you're going to want to do this. You take some breaks. On regular paper, that moist, wet part of the marker would soak into the dry paper and it would dry fast. On vellum, this is almost like a plastic. It does not dry fast because it doesn't absorb. So you just need to, this is why you need to work on it for a while. Work at the top. Don't smear parts on the bottom. Use your paper to cover it up and protect your work as you go. So Lucas, please have a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see what amazing work you do, and I look forward to seeing what you post on Seesaw, and I will make certain to show you what this looks like when it's finished. So Lucas, I hope you have been having fun filling in and coloring your stained glass window. You can start to see the work that I've been um, getting done. This is a process that takes quite a bit of time. So, like I said earlier in this video, don't rush. I just kind of wanted you to see I spent another, well, almost 30 minutes just coloring in and overlaying the markers. You can kind of see, like with her hair, I did a couple different marker colors. So you can see that. Same thing with the halo that I have around her. And the blues, I did a double layer, actually a triple layer of blues on there. You want to give the markers a chance to dry because it is on this vellum, which is a plastic. When you overlap it with another color, it will blend together, even if you're using the permanent marker. But you can see specifically here where I use those Crayola markers, they definitely dry with some of it being darker and lighter because they are much wetter. So I'm going to spend more time this week filling this in, and then I'll give you a glimpse of what my final piece looks like. All right, Lucas, this is the final colored in stained glass window, the one that I was working on. As you can see, like the examples that I showed you at the beginning of this video, that it is fully colored in. I've used my different markers, both the Crayola and the Sharpie, and any markers I had around the house to fill this in. I just want to encourage you, as you finish off this project, that you put in all of the details. Take your time and really just have a beautiful finished piece. I'd like to see these, and it might be fun for you to turn this in to school so it can hang with the rest of the school's projects. Don't forget to put the very last thing, to put your initials in the bottom corner of your drawing, like I did right there. It's just a nice tiny little marking. So I look forward to seeing these. And like I said earlier on, I just really hope that you have a good time. This is quite different from the project you did last year. So I liked seeing that picture from last year, but I really am expecting something new and much more specific relating to the Nativity for this project. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week.